So this week on the Ink Dwell, we're going to be taking a look at another budget ink from Diamine. This is Diamine Aqua Lagoon. So what brought me to this ink was just a random shopping trip over at VanS1938.com. Now, I have to admit, I haven't been to Van S in quite a while, but I found myself there this time looking for some papier-plume inks that we're going to be taking a look at here in the next couple of weeks. Back to Aqua Lagoon though, what caught me about this ink was the ink swab itself. Everyone on this channel by now knows I'm a sucker for turquoise, and this hits all the markers. You can even see here, and we'll get to it a little bit later, you've even got some of that nice red sheen coming through. So let's go ahead and take a little bit of a closer look at this lovely ink from Diamine. Now, I will say one of the things I love about these inks is the price to volume ratio. You've got a 30ml bottle that's under $10, and it's a really nice shade of good quality ink. That is something that really has to be taken into account. But the biggest issue we're going to have here is actually the bottle itself. A Pelikan M600 is going to have issues in these smaller 30ml bottles. Now the bigger 80ml bottles, no problem, but you got to watch out on these small ones. I have it on good authority though that you're not watching these videos for the bottles, you're watching it for the color. And here you can see we've got a lovely teal turquoise going from the highlights over on the right hand side, and then as it fades into the darker turquoise teal color, into that nice subtle red sheen, you've got a complete package in a budget ink that is really hard to beat, especially for turquoise. But it's not all upside here. When we look at the dry time, we really do fall apart. It took almost a full minute out of the fatter side of this FCI for the ink to dry on Tomoe River, and almost 20 seconds when we had it on Razor's Edge. Now, I know it's Tomoe River, but still, if you translate this to Rhodia, it's still gonna be really slow. And another thing I was really noticing when I was using this ink, coming out of the pen, it actually comes out a little bit more blue than it's gonna finalize on the paper. You end up with a more tealish turquoise at the end, but coming out, it's just flat turquoise. I will say though, it's not that dry of an ink. I didn't have any hard starting issues over the week that I was using it, and it felt really smooth out of the pen, really well lubricated, a nice wet ink. And yeah, that's kind of why you see a super slow dry time there. But let's go ahead and bring out the Rhodia dot pad so we can see the water resistance that we're going to get from Diamine Aqua Lagoon. So I guess it's safe to say that Aqua Lagoon kind of washed off into the ocean here. You've got a little bit of ghosting where the writing was, but overall, this is not a water-resistant ink, and that's kind of a shame, but hey, not every ink is meant to be a document style or a waterproof ink, and this is no exception to that. But I will say, overall, I'm really impressed with Aqua Lagoon. It's a budget ink, it's a friendly ink, it doesn't mess with my pen that much, which some of the other inks I've tried lately, I've had a few issues. So this was a nice breath of fresh air. And I really do like the color. It's a nice blend of teal and turquoise. It's got just the right amount of sheen when you want it. And let's be honest, when you can get 80 mils of an ink that looks like this for $15, you know you're looking at a really good value. So overall, this ink is a keeper. And I'm really kind of glad that I tossed it into my cart when I was buying those papier-plume inks over at VanS1938. Which, by the way, if you're looking for some of the more obscure inks that not all the other places are going to carry, Van S is actually a good place to check out. And no, this isn't an ad, I just really like the fact that sometimes there's some obscure inks that I'll hear talked about on the Pen Addict Slack, and they will have them at Van S before all the other places tend to get them. And that's actually really kind of helpful, especially when you've decided to go ahead and be a stationery review channel on YouTube. So that's it for this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow the channel on Twitter and Instagram, links are down below, and consider supporting the channel and the podcast 2 Guys Zero Planners over at patreon.com, where you're also going to get unedited versions of 2 Guys Zero Planners and these videos before everybody else. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.